I'm Quickstep the Green Knight at your service.
I am the Poetry Ninja, or Polar Bear.
Crimson Lord, and this is Marshadow.
And Shonen Jump 24/7.
Yeah, the cameraman's joining in for this one. And the movie we watched today is a movie known as Your Name.
One of the more recent anime movies that have been just released this year.
And also the most successful anime film to ever come out in Japan. It's made record-breaking sales out of any other film that's come out from any studio, even Ghibli.
I can see why. It was a pretty good movie.
Yeah,
I liked it.
Especially with an Oscar nomination, it's a pretty heavy thing to go into.
And if when the Oscars do premiere, I'm hoping it gets the top spot in anime.
Actually, it never did.
Damn it.
Didn't?
No.
Oh. I guess I heard differently.
Whatever.
It was considered for an Oscar for Best Animated Feature, but they never chose it to be in the list.
What did win that?
Oh,
no idea.
Why is it they show little respect for anime movies these days?
I
Well,
blame live
that's
action.
another discussion for another time. But let's actually get to the nitty-gritty here.
Alright, so what would we sum up as the plot of the movie for this?
A guy and a girl that when they sleep, they keep switching bodies.
Something that's less simple than that?
Yeah, it's kind of that, if you've seen the film Freaky Friday, the whole thing of switching bodies while these two kids are sleeping. But there's a lot more to the plot than that, but I don't want to say it just because it's a real big game changer in the plot itself.
It's like a wham line and shot.
Yeah.
If you know what those ideas mean, those tropes.
But it's definitely something that you won't see coming.
No. Even the trailers don't even hint at something for that.
Which I liked.
Oh no, it seems like a pretty good movie. From what I guess about the plot, it seems like a sort of a star-crossed thing, to be honest.
Hey, it's at least better than the last time-traveling movie we watched.
Yeah.
Well, there was nothing wrong with the other one we saw, but this one, it seems a lot more deep, to be honest.
Definitely, and unlike the other one, this one actually seems like it does more than just, follow the outline of a damn plot.
Well,
Were you here for that one?
I wasn't here for that one, but I did eventually see it, because I know which film you're talking about.
Although, I have to be honest, this is the first anime movie I've seen that actually had a literal opening with a song than the other movies.
It almost felt like, when it had that playing, it almost felt like it was more or less
Like an anime.
Yeah, I
Right,
feel like that we
this
were watching an
very
anime this time than watching a movie.
Right, a mini-series, and every single half hour seemed to play out to be an episode, which...
Yeah, and then they did play random songs throughout the movie, like not like, like in a video game where you hear songs in the background, at least seem like it's significant moments. Which is when the next episode starts.
Yeah, they seemed to only play the music when it was like in a montage of sorts.
Mm-hmm.
The opening.
Although, I think that's one thing that I could maybe mark down about the plot for the film, is that it seemed like there were some points, just for me maybe, I don't know about you guys, but it felt like there were moments where there needed to be a little bit more, because it seemed like it cut away at one point and it felt a little confusing as to, okay, who is this now? Is this still the guy, or is this the girl in the body? I feel like you finally get something going, but you don't really get that answer until later on, so it almost feels like, what just happened?
Like in the beginning of the movie, when we first find out these people are switching. With the girl, we find out when it's the day after the guy switched with her, it seems like.
I'll be honest, I thought it was just her waking up to puberty for some reason. You okay, Polar Bear?
I'm just leaping into the next scene. It's a nice transition, right?
Right. Well, to repeat, I'll be honest, the opening of the movie, I thought it was the female character going through puberty one day.
That
Kind of when
explains
she,
why she was touching
Well,
this is why we need someone female talking about this.
well,
Well, we didn't get. Cheyenne actually wasn't here today. Blame her work.
I actually didn't mind that at all. It was a nice way of just keeping the story going, because if you just kind of delved too much on something so simple, it gets really boring really quick. So you have to do these sort of quick montage transitions, especially when it looks like that, because if you stick around at certain points for too long, the audience kind of loses interest and wonders, okay, what's happening? What's gonna...
Well, I do understand your point. I don't think that's what Crimson's talking about. I apologize for interrupting, but I wanted to stop you before you got to it.
Anyway,
That's okay, I was finished.
still, I'll be honest. Seeing that opening, it kind of reminded me of most animes where if two characters are trading lives, they always wake up wondering, wait, am I me or the other guy?
Although, to be fair, in this case, I don't think we see that because they usually aren't conscious at the same time.
Yeah, it took me a while before I realized they had switched back, but honestly, she did have more of the look on her face saying, wait, am I back or am I still dreaming?
Maybe.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the characters.
How about we start with Mitsuha, since she's the first character we see in the movie.
That is true.
She apparently got girls interested in her.
Although you could also argue that
She's technically not the first character, but she's the
but
first
then
one.
again, it's the first character that we see actually interacting with the world around her.
Right.
I somehow have drawn a blank as to the main male protagonist's
Taki.
name.
Taki.
Taki.
I swear
Sorry,
to
I forgot your name, Taki.
I forgot her name. I forgot
Mitsuha.
Mitsuha's name.
That seemed to be a recurring theme in the film too. Gosh, I forgot my name. I forgot your name. No. What was your name?
It was a long time ago.
Spoilers.
We discussed not speaking about this.
You really want to
Quick transition back into
Sorry.
our discussion here. I felt Taki and Mitsuha were all right as characters. There wasn't really anything spectacular that made them stand out as their own, but there wasn't anything that made them bland and boring. So it was just kind of meh for some
They
of the
did more
characters.
than the last protagonist we had
I'm
in
still
time
trying to
travel.
figure out if they were in middle school or high school at the time.
I want to say high school.
I would say high school too, especially kind of closer to the end.
I don't know, I thought they'd be taller in high school.
Well,
We don't actually know how tall they are. They don't give us height.
when you see the gap in the transitions, you can only suggest that they're in high school.
This is why I don't like schools that do uniforms. You can never tell when it comes to animation like this.
That doesn't really make any sense, dude.
Well,
I would say plus you can tell they talk about more, what are you going to do next? That sounds more like something high school would think of than a middle schooler.
yes, definitely, especially whether you live in America or Japan, that's something that's always drilled into your head kind of closer to the end of your school year, is what are you going to do from here? In middle school, you're just kind of establishing and sort of working into this new transition in health. Whereas when you're getting into high school, you're about to transition into adulthood, and you're not quite sure exactly where you're going to go from here.
Plus also think about it, they have jobs. At least one of those flat out said to have a job. As
And
a
some high
waiter.
schools do,
Unless,
or some high schoolers do that.
actually, does what Mitsuha do in the movie count as a job in the country, or?
Well, I was thinking more of
You
the
could
guy
say,
who was a waiter,
but
not the Taki.
But that's something that's also drilled into the heads of Japanese students, especially in high school, that you already have your things set up or lined up in motion for high school, what you're going to do afterwards. You pretty much, if you're not a top a student, you have no idea what you're going to do. But if you're already at the top of your class, you know where you're going. You know what you're going to do, and you know how you're going to get it. It was pretty much established at the end with the friends when they sort of knew exactly what was going to happen from here and know what was going to be their future.
Well, Taki was a little bit trying to figure it out.
Well,
Yes.
speaking of friends, who should we talk about? Mitsuha's pair of friends or Taki's pair of friends?
I mean, we could kind of talk about both of them because I think
They're pretty much similar.
Yeah, I think every single character in this show wasn't necessarily very outgoing to sort of make a mark of being they didn't stand out on their own, but they didn't really blend into the crowd. They just were their own people, which is kind of nice because pretty much in small town or urban settings, people that just live their lives are just people at the end of the day. They're not trying to be these well-endowed, well-known folks that are trying to make themselves memorable. They're just living their lives, and they're just them.
Well then,
Well said.
should we move on to the ups and downs of the movie now?
Well, there are more characters we can talk about.
There are definitely more characters to
The
talk
dad,
Example.
about. Yes, I
the
thought
grandmother.
I
think
don't
the
think the
only-
dad had much of a part in this thing. He barely had any speaking roles.
But
Well,
he did
that-
have a role.
that is true. In fact, I think out of all of the characters, the father of Mitsuha seemed to have had the more bigger arc out of anyone, because you got to see the whole entire story of his life and why he is almost absent in his daughter's life. He does everything he can to sort of figure out exactly what he's trying to do, and I think that's the overall theme with a lot of the characters in the film. They're trying to figure out who they are and where they're trying to go.
Find your shot and take it.
Yes.
Yeah. So, aside
Come on,
from,
I'm an archer and a saber.
aside from having the grandmother seems more like the optional role model for Mitsuha.
Well, to be fair, she's the raising parent, basically. She's the mother figure, if I'm looking for
She
the exact trope.
She also seems to be the smartest character in the film.
To be fair, we only have like
She was the only character to really notice a change. She didn't really say that there was a change, but she noticed right
she
away that there was
did.
something a little bit different than usual. And it didn't quite seem like her granddaughter was herself.
which you think
Everybody
about.
else seemed to say, "Wait, are you okay? You sick or something?" She was the only person that really sort of knew right away that something was very different.
Especially when you think she's the only one who she's hinted to have an experience like this herself, which was said to also have happened to her daughter, I believe.
Yes.
There's some magic in here. What'd you do, Dark One?
What? I'm not dark, I'm white.
I hate curses.
Anyway,
Sorry, I had to make that joke.
what was that one person in Taki's life that was like his co-workers?
Ah,
Miss Okudera.
yes.
Who?
Miss Okudera.
That's
So
her.
The girl he went on a date with.
But I think that seemed more like an unrequited love relationship.
Yeah,
Well, to be
I
fair,
didn't
Taki's
know-
not the one who got the date with her.
that's true. Now, personally, from my own experience, dating coworkers isn't necessarily ideal, and life lesson to all of you, don't try to pursue something like that. It can actually be quite dangerous.
What if you and someone were in a relationship and you just happened to apply to the same job?
Well,
That's
That's
possibly
still a
lucky
little-
or bad draw.
now granted, if you're already dating and you are in the same position before you actually started working at that job,
No, I
No
meant you're in
qualms.
a relationship and you both apply at the same time to someone.
So wait, would you still be working at the same place? Okay, this is completely off topic.
yeah, we're really getting off topic.
I don't know how that even
But-
got to there.
overall, for her character, I thought she was okay. That just seems to be the consensus on my end about everybody in this show.
Yeah, to be fair, it's not like they were meant to be some all amazing characters that you even brought up. These are just people who are trying to go on their lives.
Well, should we give our final thoughts?
Okay, you skipped negatives, boy.
Oh,
Honestly,
I thought we already touched on them.
honestly, I don't have any negatives about it. I kind of like the story plot, not to mention the artwork for the sceneries, especially at the crater.
Oh, definitely. Spoiler.
No, it's not necessarily
That's
negative.
the kid break.
Or it's not a spoiler.
But
But
like, it's like,
Eh.
what were you talking about?
Eh.
It thins the line. It thins the line.
There was a picture of it in the trailer.
Well, that is true.
Well, maybe they
My-
didn't see the trailer.
Well, my positives I've pretty much already touched on. My negatives are, I wish that there was a little bit better understanding for the body switching.
Yeah, did they exactly explain how that exactly came up?
But that's really my only negative. Just
Yeah.
a little bit better understanding of what's happening.
And you sure? What about the plot of the story and the choreograph of the drama between the characters? What would you say your opinion is on that?
I think,
Actually, I thought it was pretty good.
yeah, like the characters' relationships were fine. We had someone Stark in the club, in the audience, that they had a love story better than Twilight, which admittedly isn't hard.
But, I just thought I should check with you. You are a resident theater expert.
Well, when you're writing characters for shows, you shouldn't write them to be
Too predictable.
right. And this is a really nice flow for characters because you're writing them naturally. Like I said before, and I've been saying throughout this whole review, all of the characters just seem like your regular everyday people, and their interactions seem like regular chat. So writing wise, it's
owing deals.
it's fine. It's not necessarily the best type of writing, but it's enough to keep you interested and keep you vivid with the story.
If that's it, should we move on to ratings then?
Yes. I'm gonna give this 5 out of 5 switches.
I'm going to give this 4.8 out of 5.
I'm giving this 5 out of 5 because by far the best anime as a movie I've seen up to now. So what's that?
And
Don't forget Shonen. I know he's been quiet.
What?
my score is still the same for my review, 5 out of 5.
So that
5,
is.
10, 15, 19.8 out of 20. Not bad.
I played poetry, but then we don't have 20 out of 20.
Hey, it's an A minus, isn't it?
That is pretty much an A, if not an A plus.
Did you say A minus?
Well, it's not
Well,
exactly
he
a
is
full
dark.
grade A.
He's gonna bring things a little bit down.
Well, no, that's just terrible math.
Well,
Train
how
your
should I put
EVs
it?
better.
A neutral A. Not exactly an A minus, but not exactly a full A either.
Pretty sure it's close to being an A plus, or it's just a
A neutral, take it or leave it.
No.
Well, anyway,
Twisting
thank
Nether,
you for
take it or-
joining us. We'll be back next year with our reviews. Not entirely sure what we'll be reviewing next, but we'll see you all next time.
We'll just have to
For
see
you
what.
students, that'll be next semester.
Yeah, because unfortunately we only have one more meeting left, and unfortunately that will just be a regular old party. So there will
Hey.
be no anime.
Do you think we should sign off on Happy Holidays, given the case?
Yes.
It is the 1st of December, so why not? This is the MCTC Club signing up, and happy holidays.
Happy Holidays.
Sayonara.